My name is Willie Bam Bam Parker, and I love J Ross TV.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy J Ross, hanging on my dog Bam, man. He in the Lou. Just got through smashing, man, at Schaefer's Arena with Joe for the R&B tour, along with him and Eric Benet and Music Soul Child. What's up, bro? You can pop in. This is J Ross TV, man. This is how we do it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You feeling?
I'm feeling good. What about you, man?
Man, I'm feeling good, man.
Yeah. So y'all made it to the Lou, man, but I know you got an early call in the morning. You got to get back to the crib, so we gonna pop in and pop out this interview with the quickness, man. But like we was talking earlier, man, going back and forth, and I want you to talk to the young cats. You know, you 22 years in now, so you got the experience under your belt, you got the adventures under your belt, man. What can you get them to build them up, man, to where they can make the main stage? Because a lot of people not gonna ever make the main stage.
Right.
But the cats that's really got a desire for it, and even the skill level and personality, what kind of advice can you give them, dog?
Man, I honestly would tell them to pay attention to the guys that's before them. Honestly, I watch all the guys that went before me, the Mike Clemens, Teddy Campbell's, Nissan Stewart's, Gerald Haywood, I watch all those guys, Melly, and all those guys, Ron Otis, and playing in arenas and playing in clubs are two different things. So I had to figure out how to translate what I was doing in arenas, and that comes with listening and seeing what the other guys were doing.
Yeah.
From your tuning to the gear that you use, and so that's something that I'm stressing to a lot of the up and coming drummers who are moving into position now.
Right.
I'm like 22 years. In a minute, I'll be faded out. I'll be gone, and they'll be here. But it's always cool to point out to them, when they come in and they have the smallest cymbals in the arena, that those are not going to cut. They're not going to translate to the back of the room. Or the way you tune, the size of the drums that you use, all that stuff plays a big part in, your sound.
Yeah.
And that's what I push to the up and coming generation now, just to pay attention to the guys that are before you, and pull and take from those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you play arenas, you might play a small club, you might play church. Mm-hmm. So there's a different attack when you doing those three specific things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your tuning changes differently. Arenas you tune more loosely. It's not actually like the actual tones. You tune to a cool place and let your engineers do the work.
Yeah.
Your monitor guy, your house engineer, and you let them tweak it.
Yeah.
I tune loosely in arenas. And I use bigger drums,
Man, we don't even know what all that mean, Bam. You gotta help us to the game.
A 13-inch snare drum or a 12-inch snare drum for crack, that's not gonna translate in arena. So, all my snare drums in the arena is 14s. My crashes are, the smallest crash I might have is a 18. You can't use 16s and 17s in arena because they're gonna get lost. So from my 20s and 19s are my crash sizes.
Yeah.
In arenas. Yeah.
So after 22 years, man, well, even later on in your life, do you still get the same feeling when you walk out there, man?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I still get nervous before every show, and it's not because I'm not prepared for the gig, but 20 years there's a lot that happens, or a lot that can happen during a show or before a show. You always try to have a mindset of, if Murphy shows up, Murphy Law.
That's right.
Anything that can't go wrong with. And so, we call it Murphy.
Right.
You ready? Murphy gonna show up tonight? What you gonna do if he show up? And that's the part of being professional. What happens when something goes wrong on stage and how you handle it.
Yeah.
You can't flip out and make it noticeable, but you gotta keep doing what you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the part in 22 years where, you know, when I walk out on the stage, yes, I'm nervous because I don't know if something's gonna happen, and, you know, being ready for, you know, those little issues that do occur.
Now, is your spirit still energized though when the crowd hits you? Man,
It never changes.
Yeah, well, we ain't gonna never feel that, man. So, kind of give us an idea what that feel like, man, when it's rushing through you as a professional.
It's nothing like when those lights hit, and, you know, you drop those, you know, that first beat, or that, you know, coming into, you know, the intros, and that's what feeds you. That's your energy.
Yeah.
You know, that's what pushes you through the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness, man. Yeah, I ain't gonna never get to feel that feeling, baby. But
Never say never.
Well,
Never say never,
well, I know
man.
I'm gonna say never, cause I ain't trying to be torn or riding no bus or flying no plane, none of that. But anyway, we talking to my boy Willie, man. He in the Lou, man. I've been knowing this cat for years now, man. And I just want to shout him out too, man, because when I first starting out, he used to always show me love, man. You know, anytime they was in the loop, he invite me out, man, do interviews for me, man, make sure that I was well taken care of, and I just want to appreciate that, dog.
That's what
you
it's
know,
all about.
Yeah.
I tell people, man, that's a part of, you know, I shared an experience, you know, with someone recently about when I was growing up, and someone that I was that I looked up to, and I had a chance to meet them, and they weren't the nicest to me.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me until I was about 18 years old, and I ran into that person again and was able to tell them how they affected me as a child.
Mm.
And when I told that person that, you know, they apologized and hugged me and showed me love and told me, you know, they might have been having a bad day, but that was something that always stuck with me, to never be that person.
Yeah.
You know, because you never know later on down the line, you know, you're gonna cross paths again with that person. So I try to be open and, you know, down to earth, to make people feel, you know, like they can approach me or talk to me, and, you know, just be myself. And that's what I think it's all about, you know, just showing love to people and, you know, giving people grace.
Yeah. Well, what fuels you now, man? What keep you going, make you want to just get up, get them drums, and, you know?
Man, I still have dreams, man. Believe it or not, you know. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of artists, but there's a certain point that I'm looking to, you know, that I'm looking to go, and you know, it's always pushing yourself to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, but I am looking to move into, you know, a little more of the teaching. You know, I have the academy going back home.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I love helping the next generation and younger kids.
Yeah, well, don't just gloss over that. Tell them about the academy, man.
Yeah, so you know, the Breed Academy is started with two brothers who were producers back in New Haven, Aaron Rogers and Rashad. You know, they started the Breed Academy, and then we spoke. I was teaching at School of Rock. And, you know, I wanted to bring what I had going on to our community. You know, I felt, you know, a little, you know, I felt that I should be bringing my talent to the community that I was in.
Yeah.
And helping our kids who need the help. You know, when I was growing up, my parents couldn't pay for, you know, lessons for me. You know, I had 4 sisters. You know?
Right.
And drum lessons wasn't a priority. And I knew, you know, well, maybe if I had someone in the community who could have helped me out, I could have went further than where I am now. And so that's what my mindset is now, to help this next generation and families in the community who can't, you know, maybe can't afford to do drum lessons, or the kid have a passion and they want to learn. I hooked up with these two brothers who had an idea. They're producers, and then, you know, they do production and engineering courses at the school, and then I handle all the live instrumentation there, and, you know, and so that's how we got together and we started the Breed Academy.
Nice, man. Hey, so growing up, like, anything specific that you worked on, or any particular drummer you listened to, or did you listen to everybody?
Yes, sir. We were just laughing because we were talking about Kevin Bronson from Milton Bronson.
Right.
And that drum set that they had in the video, the gold, black and gold pearl.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that. I listened to all Milton Bronson stuff, and it's crazy because I used to listen to Calvin when Calvin was playing with Ricky.
Yeah.
Started playing with Ricky Diller, and Edwin Baker. He was playing before Calvin, but then the
right
switch came, and I would watch Calvin, listen to Calvin on little VHS tapes and
VHS.
Of course Gerald Haywood, Jeff Davis, definitely Joel Smith. I was about 13 or 14, and I started playing with Tremaine Hawkins, and I got a chance to meet Joel Smith, and he showed me some cool things that I still use now.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: how did you become so seasoned at 13?
Well, I think it was just being around
the greats,
being around these guys. And
hold on, so what about cats, man? Like, say, live in Nebraska, there's no like top flight musicians there. What can they do, man, to elevate themselves? To feel the way you felt. Is it YouTube or is it?
Nowadays I would say YouTube.
Yeah.
And the social media platforms. It's more easy to tap in and reach the people that you're into. Back in the day, you had to wait till they came to your city.
Right.
Luckily for me, I was in Connecticut, where New York wasn't too far, New Jersey wasn't too far. I had a chance, to meet those guys when they came in, and develop relationships with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, that's so cool, man. That that you was able to be out at 13.
Mm-hmm.
Now like in your travels, man, and you meeting people every day all over the world. Do you think like the young cats, man, their professionalism is better or worse, or the same? In general.
I would say it's the same.
Okay.
I would say it's the same. Most of the younger guys that I've met have been kind of respectful. And they tell me, yo, man, you're one of the guys that
Right.
we've watched, and and they'll ask their questions, but I haven't really ran into any young musicians who were disrespectful.
Yeah. Now, what about talking to them about how to act on the road as a professional musician?
Listen, I tell people all the time, there is no such thing as no on the road, and it's up to you, to maintain yourself and what you're about out here. And if you don't, you'll destroy yourself.
We need some examples, not names, but kind of like some pitfalls to stay away from.
Oh man, druggings,
right.
drinking, all the negative things.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's no such thing as no. So whatever your addiction is, it's available out here. And
man,
at a phone call, you come into town and whatever you're looking for, someone will bring it to you. I mean, it's a mindset you have to have. And to be honest, my very first tour, thank God, I was out with Mike Clemens, my mentor, and Kern and Valdez Brantley.
Yes, sir.
And those guys literally, will pull my coattail and yo, that's not what you do. This ain't, and I got a chance to experience what it is. You're out here to work, make money, to provide for yourself, and it's a job. Don't get caught up. What they would say is, don't get caught up in the hype. Yeah. That's the hype. Yeah. And you on Fantasy Island. You know what I mean? Reel it back in. Like this is what we doing. This is what we out here for. So never get lost in the hype of what the road is. This is not reality.
Yeah. Well, speaking of money, is it hard to maintain nowadays after COVID? COVID made everything rough for musicians. Mm-hmm. So being back out touring heavy now, in general, and not specific, but like, is it hard now to keep your money?
I wouldn't say it's hard. After experiencing COVID, I would hope that any musician that's out here touring, have a plan, have a backup plan. I know for myself, it made me more business minded to come out and make sure that business was the way I needed it to be for me. You know, prior to that, I don't think it was a thing for me to really mentally look at it, you know, and go, oh, I got to make sure this is lined up and that this is what I need. And so COVID actually helped me to step up and speak on what I needed to be here to tour. Yeah.
All right, well, I know you got the road, man. It's after midnight. You got 3 o'clock road. So
cool, man.
tell folks how they can get up with you, man, and find out what you own and hit you on your social media spots and all that. Just show some
man,
love.
I'm basic, man. I'm still with Facebook and IG, but my Facebook is Willie Bam Bam Parker, and then my IG is Bam's the One, BAMS, DA, the #1.
Once again, man, I want to shout out my dude, man. We probably, 15 years or something, maybe even 20 in, man. So just want to show him love, man. They just got through smashing up at Schaefer's Arena, man, on the R&B tour, man. He hit with Joe. Of course, everybody know that. Even hold that gig down for a minute. So I just want to 15. So I just want to thank him, man, for always looking out for me, man. And I'm gonna let him bounce, y'all. This your boy Jay Ross. We 17,700,000 strong. We in the Lou, and we gone. Peace.